Joining us now is Jerold Mande, CEO of Nourish Science and adjunct nutrition professor at Harvard. Great to have you with us. So what do you think was on the menu at this meeting today, no pun intended? What do you think RFK Jr. is asking for in terms of change from these companies?
Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for having me back again. I hope he told them that there's clearly a new sheriff in town and that old ways of poisoning Americans with the food they're making, producing food that makes us sick, is over. And it's time that they do what food companies first and foremost should do, which is make food when eaten as intended, we thrive on.
So do you think the food companies will agree to make changes? I mean, why wouldn't they?
Well, hopefully they will. I think what the Make America Healthy Again movement represents is a tipping point where so many Americans are sick, and not just the adults where we have the shortest lifespans, but how sick our children are. 20% with obesity, more than that on the way with either type 2 diabetes or heading that way. And so it's a point where we just can't be this sick. And when we look at why we're this sick, it's our food. And of course, food should be what we thrive on. And indeed, we've ended up with a food industry who, in designing their products, puts profits ahead of health and has resulted in producing food that, eaten as they intend, makes us sick.
I guess what I'm asking is it better business for these companies to put all this junk in our food?
Well, it has been because, there are really 4 points to North Stars that companies use in producing food. There's taste, cost, and convenience, and the fourth is health. It has to make you thrive. Problem is, as a consumer, when you buy your food and go home, within the first hour, you know about taste, cost, and convenience. I think Americans want food that's healthy for them. It's just, how do you tell that? You can't tell that within days or weeks of eating it, and that's the government's job. The government hasn't been doing its job, and the companies are partially to blame for that because they cut funding for a nutrition research by pressuring Congress and for the work that the agencies do. But that needs to change. We need a new sheriff who's going to be tough, and hopefully RFK told them that today.
Should the government be doing more if the companies won't to ban certain substances? Food, we've already seen one red dye banned, but more of them banned, or certain seed oils or certain other chemicals. I mean, and we haven't even gotten to what happens to all the wheat and grain that is grown in this country and the preservatives and additives and sprays that are used on those.
Yeah, the government has sort of taken a position that we should make healthy options available to people, and then we should provide information. Principally, labeling is our main strategy. That puts the burden, the blame on each American.
You and me.
Yeah, no, and it really should. You should know it's been the law for more than 100 years. That's why FDA was created, that you could go into the store with everything else you have to worry about. You can pick the food you like, but the one thing you can be assured is it wouldn't make you sick.
Yeah.
And it's time to change that. They have the law already there. It doesn't require help from Congress on the law. They could add some more support in terms of funding, but they need to start enforcing it, and they need to start with the design of food. They need to tell companies that you need to prove to us that the foods you're designing people will thrive on, and certainly that they will not get sick, which is what's happening today. And you need to start.
Yeah, consumers are overwhelmed. Anybody can stamp healthy on their, bag of cookies. But, to be standing in those, grocery aisles with a magnifying glass, going through the ingredients and trying to remember which ones you're supposed to avoid, it feels to me like we're putting the onus on every consumer, you and me and everybody else who goes to buy food at the grocery store, and trying to be healthy and really not even sure that what I'm buying is healthy. Well, let's hope something came out of the meeting, Jerold. We're going to have you back because I love talking about this topic, and I think most people do. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.